And thank you very much for being here. As you know, in this class, we are going to redo one of our favorite novels, The Scarlet Letter. I'm sure it must have touched your heart when you studied for the first time. I have divided the class into 6 parts, and I tell you, my purpose is to help you remember the important points. So we start with the author, Nathaniel Hawthorne. As you know, he is a central figure in American romantic movement, and most of his stories are set in New England. And remember, he was a critique of Puritanism, and his novel is it's a critique of Puritanism. And if I were to introduce the Scarlet Letter, it was published in 1850, and it's set in the 17th century Puritan Boston. You know that the name Puritanism comes from these people try to purify the church. Then remember, as I told you, the first point, it is a critique of Puritanism. It favors Hester and criticizes the Puritanism. That is a modern critique of this work. And remember, there are 4 important characters and 2 less important characters. The first one is Hester Prynne. She is the protagonist and publicly shamed and forced to wear the letter A for being adulterous, for bearing a child out of wedlock. And the second one is Pearl, Hester's illegitimate child, especially daughter, and a symbol of her mother's sin. And other 2 important male characters are Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale, Pearl's father, a respected minister who hides his guilt over the affair he had with Hester, and Roger Chillingworth, Hester's husband, who seeks revenge on her lover. And there is an unnamed narrator who is inspired to write a Scarlet Letter after discovering the Scarlet Letter and fragments of the story in the attic of the custom house. He describes the novel as a tale of human frailty and sorrow. And there is a minor character, Mr. Hibbins. She is Governor Billingham's sister. She invites Hester to a witches' meeting in the woods and becomes the object of her fascination. Remember, she has been later burnt at stake for being a witch. And if you look at the summary, we know that it starts with the first scaffold scene. And remember, it opens in June 1642 in the Puritan town of Boston, and where the crowd gathers for the punishment of Hester Prynne, a young woman found guilty of adultery. And Hester Prynne, as you know, he is led through the crowd to the hostile Puritan with her newborn child, and she has been branded as an adulteress and forced to wear the Scarlet Letter A on her chest. And Hester refuses to reveal the identity of Pearl's father. And remember, in the crowd was her husband, Roger Chillingworth, who recognizes Hester. From then onwards, he is on an investigation to find out who is behind this. And his suspicion falls on the clergyman, Arthur Dimmesdale. And under the guise of a doctor, he gets close to Dimmesdale, you know that. And over the years, Hester's charity wins the public opinion. And now we have an important scene is the forest meeting 7 years after. Remember, after 7 years, the child is taken away because it is treated as a damned child by the church. But here, what happens is that Dimmesdale, part of the council, he pleads on Hester's behalf, and she is allowed to keep her child with her. And after that, on the forest, she tells Dimmesdale that Chillingworth is her husband and asks him to come with her and leave with her from Boston. And then the important scene is the election sermon scene. Here on an election day, Dimmesdale, he gives a very impassionate sermon, and towards the end, they leave, when the procession leaves the church, he collapses, and Hester and Pearl rushes to his side, where he openly confesses his sin. And when he opens his chest, we can see that he has what you may call seared into the flesh the Scarlet A. And even in the beginning, when he was talking in the church, actually he had as a habit of keeping the heart on the chest, because he's then towards the end, that Hester and Pearl, they leave Boston, and at the end we understand that Pearl is married, and she stays in Boston, Hester, and after her death, she is buried with Dimmesdale, and on the headstone marked the letter A. So this is what happens and if you look at the themes, that sin, knowledge, and human condition, it deals with the what you may call sin and the effect of sin on human soul, and the nature of evil. Roger Chillingworth, he is a representative of evil, and society. He critiques the society, how society defines an individual society, how what you may call society versus individual identity. And coming out of the simple, so the Scarlet Letter, initially it's a mark of sin, later it becomes a symbol of identity. And Pearl, she's a living symbol of a mother's what you may call sin, constant transgression. And there is a meteor when Dimmesdale stands on the scaffold at night, and he sees a meteor shapes A, which is interpreted as angel by the town after the death of Governor Winthrop. And the scaffold is a place of shame and punishment, but also becomes a place of redemption and confession. So these are the things we need to know about this novel, Scarlet Letter, the last minute of the exam. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next class. Until then, take care, study hard. Bye bye.